let's concentrate on the second biggest contributor now, L&T. Along with other defense stocks, L&T has also surged in trade today, and that is on reports that the DIPP has granted licenses to several defense companies, and that of course is in tune with the Modi government's idea of making a lot of defense equipment internally. Mr. M.B. Kotwal, President of Engineering from L&T Heavy Engineering Department, is with us. Mr. Kotwal, thank you very much for joining us. Well, what is L&T's opportunity in this space?
I think the L&T opportunities are absolutely huge, and this is primarily because we have been in this defense area for more than 25 years now, and therefore we are very well prepared and positioned in all respects.
But the proposals announced
look at in future. Sorry.
Sir, the proposal that were cleared by the DIPP, Pipavav Defence got some 7 orders, Punj Lloyd Aviation 2, Tata Motors 1, Piramal Systems 1. We didn't see any L&T name or orders over there. Nothing pending with the government as of now. Is it more a question of you are going to bid?
No, I think I must first correct you. The announcement is about licenses to manufacture and not orders at all.
Okay.
Now, these specific licenses, they stem from the fact that in 2002, the first time the government came open talking about involvement of private sector, they had asked for companies to apply for licenses. And I must mention here that L&T was the first corporate and today the only corporate which has licenses to manufacture the entire range of defense equipment. Whether it's the Army, Navy or Air Force, the entire range is already there with us since 2002. So what has happened and what is now being talked about is very recent applications. When I say some of them are, of course, recent 2011 applications, some of them have got cleared. But this is only licenses to manufacture. It has nothing to do with orders. That will happen much later.
Okay. Mr. Kotwal, good morning. So, from over the next 3 or 5 years, how big is the defense opportunity for L&T? What's the current defense formation of your top line, and going forward, how much can it go up to?
Yeah, actually, I must give you a little perspective so that I can build up this entire answer. Since, as I mentioned, we have started this activity more than 25 years ago, we started laying the foundations of various, not only investments in plant and machinery, but also in developing people and technologies for a whole wide range. And that is why today we are in a position to really bid for a wide range of systems, complete systems and platforms. When I say platforms, I'm talking about full submarines, warships, tanks and such total vehicles. In addition to that, when you come to systems, we need a lot of base know-how in engineering and design. This has been well established at various centers in the L&T spectrum, and we also have virtual reality facilities which enable the front-end design capabilities which no other organization in India has. Now, this is the kind of base we have, and therefore we today, when we talk about potential, we are really talking about coming to fruition of a huge effort put in over decades.
Okay.
Now we see potential in the various areas of the Army, the Navy and of course the Air Force for various types of equipment. If I were to quantify that, when you look at the Army, we look at the next few years the potential of more than 18 to 20 billion dollars worth of systems which are going to be available, which are of interest to L&T. And a similar number approximately is also there in the marine area. Now, you total up all these. Now, this is just not numbers. We have to be having the capability, the capacity to tackle all these numbers. And this is the other difference as far as L&T and some of the other companies. We have already put in place the investments. They're already ready for this kind of work. And therefore, we are quite confident that we will be able to meet the needs of the armed forces in future.
Okay. No, actually, the government has been a little wary or dragging its feet and involving private sector too much in defense equipment. At the moment, what is the percentage of your revenues or orders that come at all from defense? And what might it be 5 years down the line? I think that's what Anuj is trying to look at.
Okay, so look at the broader picture. Today, our orders, which revenues I'm talking about in defense equipment. Now, I'm not including anything which is peripheral, which is also to do with huge civil projects which we take on. I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
The core defense equipment is of the order of $500 million, $400 to $500 million kind of thing. Now, when we go forward, in the next 4 to 5 years, in any case, we are absolutely confident it will more than double. And then beyond that, since there's a large number of projects, as I mentioned, in the pipeline, which are going to stretch over some few more years, I think this whole number from 1 billion can go to 3 billion in the following 3 years. So that's the kind of picture we are looking at. It's going to be a major growth story for the simple reason that we have built the necessary foundations and have the necessary people, which is the most vital thing. So that's the kind of numbers we're looking at just in the case of core defense equipment.
Okay, Mr. Kotwal, you know, my analyst Pragya tells me that there's this big submarine order that's up for grab, and it's a big $8 billion, and you have been shortlisted for that as well. How confident are you about backing this order, and you know, how much, what kind of order would this be in terms of revenues for your company?
Yeah, now you raised a very important part. You know, when you talk about involvement of the private sector, in general, I must say that the progress has been very slow. However, in the case of submarines, we got a fantastic opportunity in getting involved in the first nuclear submarine. And that really has built a solid foundation for us. We have got ready facilities and trained manpower, including all the necessary equipment for design, engineering, and the lot, for taking on the entire scope, right from the detailed engineering to complete commissioning of full systems. Now, this is the kind of scope we got, and therefore, we are the only company other than MDL, of course, which has got this track record. There is no other company which can claim to have anything to do with actual manufacture of submarines. And we are not only manufacturing, we have established all these capabilities which are well known. That being the case, now in coming to your question about the 75I project, we see as part of a continuum, because way back in 2000 or so, the government had already announced its intention of having two clear streams of submarine manufacture and then consolidating that into one Indian design going forward, because the Navy at that time had a perspective plan of having 24 submarines over 30 years. So we had very methodically built these capabilities right from that time, and today we are absolutely in a position to take it on. So actually we are more than ready. We have got the capacities and capabilities, and we are really hoping that the government takes that decision soon, because we are absolutely, in all respects, ready to take the whole project on. Now, you talked about value. It will entirely depend on the final configuration, but it would be probably in the range of about 8 to 10 billion US dollars. That kind of a number, but we have to see how it comes. And this is too early to really project a particular number. It will depend on how the government handles the entire scope. Of course, some numbers have come out in the press, but I think they're all approximate. One has to wait for the final RFP, as they call it, to describe exactly what they need, and that's when we'll get closer to the real numbers.
And what about battery management systems and tactical communication systems? These orders are also being spoken about. I think some such order has gone to BEL, and it has subcontracted it, part of that, to you. Where do you figure? What are the numbers we are talking about? What are the systems we are talking about?
Yeah, but I must correct you again here. The tactical communication system was the first program which the government announced in the so-called Make India category, the first one.
Okay.
And as part of the deal, the part of the scheme, actually they were to shortlist two companies or organizations to tackle this program. What we did, so in the tactical communication system, way back in 2011, actually we have already been shortlisted as among the top two. One of them being BEL and the other being L&T-led consortium, which comprises L&T, Tata's, and one other company. So these are the two which are already shortlisted. It's not one subcontract to the other. Independently, these would develop these systems. So we are waiting for the clearances now, and we proceed on that program.
And what is the amount we are talking about, sir?
Program.
What is the amount of money?
There itself would be about, it would be about 8 to 10,000 crores. And then following that, BMS will be an even larger program. There is an FICV program which had also come into this list. So these are major programs which are different from equipment which are already available. These are like for futuristic requirements, new developments to be done. And very proud of the fact that in the first program itself we got included the tactical communication system. So we are just waiting for the final clearances, and then we proceed with the development. That part, the development portion, is going to be funded 80% by the government.
All right. We'll touch base with you a little later when things actually start getting implemented.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kotwal, for giving us so many details and adding color to what we only understand in a very overt manner.